For a few years at this time, there had been worries over the environment. Global warming started to make its presence felt in 2003, 05, 06 and 07, with a series of particularly hot summers.
So what do you remember about the hot summers then?
I remember that from about 2004 to 2007 is when people really started to feel the effects of climate change. It was no longer just being monitored by scientists, something you read about. It was something that you could actually feel. You could really feel the temperature difference with the hot summers and the warm winters. I mean, don't have seen snow now for a couple of years, and apparently we used to get snow down here every year, if not kind of waist deep snow some winters. And the summers are becoming longer and warmer, and you're seeing flowers come out wrong season, which is probably affecting the whole kind of ecosystem as well. And so I think global warming has really started to become a reality for a lot of people. I think we're living in quite an exciting time when people have realised something needs to be done, and now's the time. We're at a kind of turning point where it can go either way.
So what do you remember about the weather at the time?
Well, at the beginning, the early years of 21st century, there was a lot of talk about global warming, and all governments kept meeting for summits where they promised to reduce emissions by certain dates in the future. And then there was a lot of talk about whether governments were meeting their promises or not. Very often not. And I must say I do remember the weather seeming to be a bit warmer, especially in spring, when noticed that the flowers would come out sooner and the blossom on the trees would be earlier, and we'd often have springs that were like summer for a few weeks. Did have other bad weather conditions as well to go with it. I can remember there being lots of terrible storms.
Oh, the weather. We started getting these gorgeous long hot summers, and everyone started kicking off about global warming, but it was beautiful. Britain's known for its rainy, cold weather, and we started getting some gorgeous, beautiful summers, proper suntans, people stayed in Britain to go on holiday, and they start banging on about global warming, holes in the ozone layer, bloody sea levels rising and all that. And who really cared? Because it was only like, a couple of centimetres or something. It's due to these big holes on cars and all that kind of stuff. What's it going to do? Just cover little bits of Africa or something? Look at it, we had decent weather for a change in Britain, for God's sake.
I also remember the Prime Minister of Australia going on national television begging the people to pray for rain because they'd had such a terrible, terrible drought, which was attributed to global warming. But it's very hard, isn't it? Because I suppose we should all not drive our cars and use petrol, and keep our houses insulated so we don't use a lot of fuel. But when you're used to those things and the ease and convenience of it, it's very hard to give it up.
Boiling hot, wasn't it? I mean, we were in April, and instead of getting April showers, we were getting lovely sunny weather, Easter eggs were just melting in the kiddies' houses.
Mid-July weather in April. You couldn't go wrong, could you?
So then you can imagine what we had in mid-July.
I used to work out with a building mate of mine. Used to go out white, come back brown. Not a problem. Tanned to the high nines.
Oh, I had the same sort of problem, but I had a tan, so I just came back red as a bird.
Oh, that's never any good, is it?
Yeah, a bit painful.
That's quite odd though, how we had so much sun in April. But we had January, February, March, horrible weather. Rain, snow, sleet, fog, hail. Early April, beautiful sun comes out.
Yeah. I mean, Mediterranean climate, innit? Why go away on holiday this year? So just stay in Britain, go down to Cornwall for a couple of weeks. Cheaper holidays, isn't it?
Yeah, not a problem.
Hotter than Greece, are you as well?
Remember the headlines at the time? We are gonna sizzle this year. Boy, did we sizzle.
Oh yeah, like bangers and mash. Oh.
The weather at the time was absolutely amazing. I mean, we started off in April without any rainfall whatsoever, certainly in the southwest where I represented. And and that went on through the summer. The biggest problem was that the global warming was beginning to be accepted as a fact rather than a fallacy, but the concentration was on the emissions from cars and aeroplanes, where we should actually have been looking at the new world countries such as India and China that were developing and producing masses of CO2 gases, and the global warming was increased by that. Nuclear power at the time was not considered to be an option, and fortunately I believe sincerely that that trend has now been removed, and that is the way to actually reduce the carbon emissions and to reduce the global warming.